Yeah, so in the late term revisionist history, this is the way some people want to try to characterize it. February 18th, 1992, Washington Post, huh? Really? Is that true? Washington Post? Really? Okay. Russia's unwanted children adopted by West. Bright eyed, blonde hair, Natalia. The children, all considered by authorities here to be handicapped in some way, are among a growing number of Russians without families who are being matched with families in America eager to adopt. The movement is gathering strength as the collapsing Russian economy raises fears that many more children will soon find themselves abandoned. Many of the children were misdiagnosed early on as retarded and so will be consigned, despite average or above average intelligence, to lives of drudgery and mistreatment in adult residential institutions here, according to foreign and Russian experts. Okay, see, when this was happening in 2002, many of those children were alleged to be HIV positive. Saying a child is retarded or may have an emotional problem, some sort of trauma, or may even have some sort of, what do they call them, developmental disability or intellectual disability, is a completely different drug market than if they're HIV positive. Did you import those Russian and Ukrainian, by the way? There were plenty of beautiful Ukrainian babies so that you could harvest their DNA and then use it to map the genome of people of Slavic descent so you could harvest their biodata and you could hack, biohack the processes of burgeoning cybernetics that were ongoing during the time of the Soviet Union and thereafter, and do everything you could to sabotage any alternative to what apparently was a preordained effort to create a one world economy based on hierarchical database programming that penalizes people, including through subjecting them to torture in the form of directed energy weapons, unless they comply with a pre mandated political paradigm. See, our actual economic capabilities or financial capabilities are no more important than our political capabilities unless we demonstrate loyalty to people you've already allowed to get insurance based on theft from us. Mercenary trade in babies. They're not babies anymore, are they? Were they loans? Did you take out loans on them? And now that's some of the major deals that were set up during that time frame have been subjected to duress while America came up with every fucking excuse possible to completely bad faith every promise, every offer ever made, including backdating everybody to being a spy, or rather intelligence in training. And now you're supposed to return the loans. So it's important to make it as trashed and defiled as possible. And I suspect something that's been going on for a long time, which is horrible and nobody wants to admit, that the United States has refused to actually deal with its history of slavery and certain African American people in well as potentially certain people from Africa, agreed to co conspire to harvest white people who were from the former Soviet Union or who had enough genetic indicators from the former Soviet Union, with an occasional pop off or liquidation here from the good pilgrim stock of America, with the understanding that at a certain point Putin's ladies would rise up. Who are Putin's ladies? Are Putin's ladies literally an economic paradigm engineered by Goldman Sachs, where you destroyed a very specific lineage of Irish American political identity and slandered us and tried to genetically program us to be alcoholics and drug addicts so that we would refine whatever we considered to be our potential political opportunities and then harvest our lives, including our literal DNA, to be redistributed to other demographics. See, the problem is then you take the genius of those groups of people as well, and you only reify and reinforce the racism those groups of people were originally subjected to. You only reify and reinforce racism against African American people or people of African descent as having any extemporaneous or culturally or otherwise authentic leadership of their own that they could share with other people or other people would have to work with. When you genetically engineer a product line and then put racial quotas on it as part of your market access plan, what we get to is a stage where, is that what they just did with the G7? Did they just offer some black models of reconstituted Russian and Ukrainian DNA? And so Russia and the Ukraine and other countries of the former Soviet Union have a lot going on right now because they have been put into a position where they have to make different decisions about how to handle this reality, including how overtly they're going to expose it, because it hurts. It hurts when they ping your DNA and they genitally torture you and they engineer everybody you used to know to be so completely hideous and incomprehensible that you are too ashamed. They want you to be ashamed. They want you to honestly believe that you were a spy and that you were bad and that you were evil and that everything about your way of being was wrong and you were literally just alone. You're just a fucking loan. 5 years, 25 years, 35 fucking years. You were just alone. And now it's time for somebody to get their loan back. And the truth is, your life was just a fucking loan anyway that was used to make money for somebody else. So even if there is a payoff, or even if you did pay, it doesn't matter whether you did or didn't pay, because you're not going to get any of it anyway. And the creme de la creme is to say, all of the promises of the Soviet Union about racial justice and standing together against colonization and imperialism and capitalist exploitation gets thrown in your face because you're not getting any white girls. You're getting the black ones. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful, aren't they? And she's vicious, so don't be bad. Make sure that when she asserts her authority, you give her the metrics you know she wants. You're not allowed to answer a question based on some sort of polemic. Nobody has time for the politics. Give her the fucking money. Give her the money, and it better match with what she's expecting. Is that your understanding of... Excuse me, what does the memo say? Hold on a second. Bound regarding cultural artifacts. Cultural artifacts. You don't understand. It's somebody else's understanding of their culture. It was preserved. Somebody preserved their culture, and now it's time for them to get their culture back. And if you want your culture back, you have to give them theirs first. Their culture. Their culture demands that you demonstrate your loyalty by being subservient in the right way. And if you do it, well, you might get something that reminds you of your own culture back, right? I mean, we've already told you what your culture really authentically is. All of your memories were just on loan anyway. Do you have any idea what you've brought down? This was a very, 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 very dangerous gamble. See, you've done this job here with COVID 19 where many people who were used to seeing people in person or talking to people or meeting with people were supposed to be isolated even more than they had been, right? And so if you didn't see anybody for a while or you didn't hear from anybody in a while, it was one thing. And the whole horror of the complete contemptibility and absolute asinity of COVID 19 as some sort of health pandemic, especially if you have the least little bit of actual literacy, well, you're an obsolete model. You're an obsolete model, and because you don't demonstrate your loyalty, you don't get the kind of energy as part of the healthcare system that's going to make you attractive enough to actually get somebody to buy your products. So you might as well just give up, right? Doesn't take that much. It doesn't take that much. Did you already kill them? Did you already murder those children and launder their DNA through other people? And so what anybody's really going to get back on their loans is the new souped up models. Did you promise a bunch of old men that they'd get their own version for their retirement? See, I'm probably what, is that first generation? So I'm a little too old, actually. I'm a little too old. That's why I'm supposed to be dead. Right? And you're going to use them as human shields. You'll murder them before you'll do anything about the generation of hyper entitled mercenaries that agreed to traffic children their entire fucking lives so that they could claim it as some sort of, I don't know, entitlement as an end of life benefit. No, you're not going to get away with this. It's just not sustainable. I think that's really what's going on, isn't it? You humiliated yourself at the G7, didn't you? They don't want it. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's not going to be sustainable. But the problem is there's been plenty of time for all these people that were showing off to actually be honest about what was happening. I don't believe the story. The story is inaccurate. It wasn't about any of these children being retarded. They were probably geniuses. It's probably more akin to what happened with the Russian flu. It's very unfortunate. I think I'm about to go dark for a while.